just got in from grabbing a coffee outside because I ran out of coffee. This is the beginning of my 6-day work week for Christmas, and what I'm getting used to is documenting my life. Having a camera on you and recording B-roll all of the time is something that I'm gonna have to get used to. Learning how to tell a story, getting behind a camera, learning how to speak vulnerably and witness yourself on camera has been really interesting. I seriously hear from clients and friends and people in general who found out that I'm doing the YouTube thing. I wish that I could, but I just don't have the camera skills, or I just don't feel comfortable with myself talking on camera. Y'all, this is a learned skill. I remember starting talking into camera back in 2020, and it was nerve-wracking as hell. I had all the usual thoughts, which were, do I sound like that in real life? Oh my god, that's how I look like. And I couldn't grasp accepting myself, seeing myself on a screen. Thought it was annoying, annoyed by myself for some effing reason. What I've learned, much to my surprise, is that these thoughts are absolutely normal. And everybody who used to say these things, I used to say the same things. Here's what I know now that have changed how I pretty much just press record and see myself on camera. Just so you know, that's how you look. That's how you've been looking at the grocery store. That's how you've been looking, filing your taxes. That's how you've been looking at family reunions and on dates. It's also how you sound. So get used to it. Just accept that that's you on camera, that's your face, and if you don't like it, that's okay. Don't let it stop you from pressing record and being perceived and doing the thing. I would be lying if I said I don't get in my head and it's not absolutely nerve-wracking every single time that I press record. But you know what happens? You get used to it. The reps just increase and you get out of your head about the normal things, and you can actually finally just go on camera and say things and just be yourself. It takes reps to see yourself on camera. It takes reps to be able to be comfortable with witnessing yourself and accept, oh, that's me, I'm doing the thing. And then after you have finally built the muscle of being able to press record and stomach yourself on camera, you reach the next hurdle, which is, what the fuck do I have to say? I feel like that one continues to be my greatest struggle now that I have gained the skills to press record, pretty much allow myself to be perceived. When I open my mouth, I'm constantly worried. Is what I'm saying valuable? Do people want to hear what I have to say? And it turns out, when you share your experience, a lot of people are going through the same thing. Shocker. By this point, I would say the amount of times that I have voiced my inner thoughts out loud and somebody has told me, that's exactly how I feel, or that's exactly what I'm going through, or are we living the same life, has been too many times to count. The actual number one thought that I go through now that I'm vlogging my life is that my life's fucking boring, y'all. And to document it and tell a story in a really interesting way, the only way for me to do that is just to document what I'm learning. And so this transition of being a hairstylist full-time while learning visual storytelling to become a YouTuber. The amount of work is so crazy. When they're telling you on these YouTube videos on how to vlog your life and stuff, that you need to enjoy the process, that is the truth. And so the only way for me to be able to frame this now is I'm just documenting my life. But I've set the bar really low, and I've just want this to be a place where, number one, I look back and I can see my life, and it's this record keeping that I'm normalizing in my life. Also, I get to go back and witness my journey of learning these skills. How to record B-roll, which is really, I would say that that's probably the most time-consuming part of my day, is filming the story blocks to tell the story of my life, no matter how mundane and boring it is. I feel like me doing this gives permission to my friends and family who've also been thinking about doing this for so long to also do the thing. And it's also permission for me, well, I guess the past version of me, to be like, hey, this is me doing the thing that I said that I was gonna do, and it's weird, and you feel like an imposter, but you just gotta fucking do it. And that's probably the biggest hurdle that I have to overcome, and it's been really satisfying. It is satisfying doing the thing that you said you're gonna do. And it's more about just putting in the reps and learning one thing at a time, and then eventually you'll get there. I suppose all that to say, this is the skill. Learning how to talk on camera is a skill. You gotta put in the reps. If I actually document my journey of like how I came from barely being able to perceive myself on camera now into like talking into the camera as though I'm just talking to my friend, you'd be shocked. And the one thing that I needed to do from the very get-go was just to do it. And so at the time, I remember in 2020, it was during the pandemic, and I had to do marketing because I had to get people in my chair because I needed to pay my bills, and I needed to announce things to clients, and everybody was doing the whole TikTok dance thing. I remember being so in my head about getting on camera and talking and literally just telling my clients, here's my availability, pre-book. I could barely even get on the camera and be like, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys for all of your love and support. It was really hard to do. And I went through all the motions of judging myself, only to then realize, if I'm going to let that stop me from posting online or doing the marketing for my business, I'm holding myself back because I don't accept the way that I look or sound. That sounds like insanity to me. That right there, that's the real insanity. Don't do that. Because then the limit just becomes your self-perception. And I suppose that's a lot of people's problem, is your self-perception, creates limits for you. And I think the minute that you're aware, though, you gotta decide if it's something worth unpacking for you. And for me, it was, okay, how do I counsel myself to finally just be on camera and look like one of those people that are just like talking to a friend? You just had to put in the reps. And also, when you are witnessing yourself on camera and then your voice sounds a certain way, you watch that back, give yourself some constructive criticism. Did that sound robotic? Did that sound like my delivery was just forced? And when you watch this stuff, and it's already posted, by the way, it's cringy. It's cringy, it's embarrassing, because at that point already, how many inflections have I tried doing my social media marketing? so many different kinds of inflections. A lot of, I remember when I first started talking into the camera, I wanted to sound like Michelle Phan. I grew up in the 2000s watching her makeup videos, and she always did this Michelle Phan makeup voice. And I thought that's how I should be like on the internet, you know? And everybody who watched it was like, everybody who knows me was like, that's not you, Tommy. Why the fuck are you doing that voice? And I was just imitating somebody that I really looked up to, and it was just that. I was imitating somebody, I wasn't being myself, and people will clock that right away. But you know what, in that moment, I could sit there and be defensive or in shame, or I could be like, you know what? These people are telling me something really constructive and valuable. Take that feedback. Is it true? Do you not sound like yourself? And I just had to sit with that and then integrate it. So when that happens, yeah, you gotta have a little bit of a tough skin, because all of this stuff is meant for your improvement. So even just getting past that hurdle of like, honestly hearing people's feedback, that was a moment. And then there's my relationship to failure. That's the biggest one, I think. Whether that's like not being happy with the content that I'm making, or picking apart something that I've already posted, I will, in my body, it feels like the equivalent to failure, but it's not. It's in simple need of a reframe. I guess for some reason in my childhood, I've equated failure to like my sense of worth. That's not true. Your mind will lie to you, and the only approach that you can take, or at least the healthiest one in my opinion, is what did you learn? Did you learn something? And so witnessing yourself on camera and then being like, ooh, that's gross, and I'm this or that, and then having the whole negative self-talk thing, I have to deal with it all the time. And luckily, as an adult, you can actually tell your mind that's not true. Mind, you're gaslighting me, that's not what's happening. Then you look back at your perceived mistake, your failure, and then you ask yourself, what could I have done better? What did I learn? And how does this contribute to how I move forward or solve problems? And that's been the healthiest thing so far for me. What I've learned as well, it's not the end all be all. If you put out like a shit video, if you feel like maybe your value was like missing during that video, it's a process. Apparently for the first 100 videos, nobody even watches. And that means that you're like free, because you can experiment. And I've taken that approach very literally. I think there's so much pressure for things to be perfect, and that would have left me in paralysis previously. However, now you just gotta say fuck it. And as long as you're making the next video just 1% better than the last, then you're good. And 1% over 100 videos is 100%. That means that you grow. It's a journey, y'all. So for example, today I am trying to practice what I learned in a tutorial of just doing different shots while I talk. And this is something that I haven't done in my previous videos, but we're here now and I am practicing. This is kind of cool because I think I really wished that I would see this journey kind of spoken out loud when I first started. And this is what that looks like. This is like before people are even watching your shit. You're learning how to make a good video. So to recap, that's how you look. Accept it. If you're annoyed at how you sound or you think that you look ugly, congratulations. All of those things are true because you believe it. Put in the reps because that's how you're gonna get used to seeing yourself on camera. That is something that I had to learn, and you just get used to it. The sooner that you get that out of the way is the sooner that you can figure out what you have to say when you open up your mouth, now that you're used to seeing yourself on camera. That, I would say, is a lot more work because you have a mic to the whole of the internet, and then you have to decide, what value am I providing today? And so for me, I think it's just documenting my life and making these things kind of relatable because for me, they are. When you open up your mouth and you start sharing what you're saying out loud, sharing your inner world, turns out a lot of people can probably see themselves in what you're saying, or you're just saying out loud something that people are already feeling. Whenever you think something that you've made sucks and you're hard on yourself, it probably does suck in some sort of way, and there's room for you to improve instead of equating yourself to failure because you're not. You're learning, you're sharing. So whatever perceived reason that you have to tell yourself you are not doing it right or you're worthless or like whatever, don't let your mind go there. It's not real. And lastly, don't be so hard on yourself. You're not failing at doing the thing, you're learning. And it's a process. And the process is supposed to be enjoyable. And you can learn a lot about yourself. And that's what's happened to me so far, documenting it. And it low-key is just turning out to be kind of fun. Learning how to like tell stories, speak on camera and like gain all of these skills. And I highly encourage any of y'all to do it. That's what I've learned so far. I'm late for work, I have to go, bye.